Alright, for YouTube's end, this is all still the same day. We just finished the third part of the trial. It's a lot. I've been live for almost 4 hours now. We had to examine this bots and... So, this is the article in question. Is it the small bots deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago? And on the night of Mr. Winterbank's murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick! Let's open it and see what's inside! Music bots. Good gracious, this is no ordinary bot, it seems. Wow, although in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the bot's house is a miniature music bots movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's discs, deposited at Winterbank's, much at the same time. Strictly correct, my lord, it was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded? I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc.
Hold it!
Wait, my lord! Good grief. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The music bots in this are unrelated to the case. No, you need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music.
Objection!
This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understand what happened. The prosecution has no objection. No, that piece of evidence is police property now. You can't. Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest in it here, but it is the policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Grrrr! No further delays, please. Play the disc. Why do we have the tape on there still? What? It's not going to be able to read the other holes. Are you people stupid? Why am I asking? Of course they're stupid. This is Morse code. What on earth? Certainly not what I would call music. It's Morse code. You can tell by the pattern of the... Oh gosh. Are you serious? I just did this and now it's still... Stop it! Stop being broken! Stop it! Yes. It's just the same note playing over again in an irregular sequence. No. Mr. Graydon? This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer since I fetch it and drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret. I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Objection. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Come on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from the box possibly be a new clue? It could be a clue. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel. Mere noise. I fail to see how it could have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the Inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound. As if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's what the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh. Just what relevance do you propose this woefully full chiming has on this case? It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is not supposed to be music. Just because this music box is a music box doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. This is the last file that I can use for save scumming. Unless I go all the way back up. And it just occurred to me. Objection! The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Now that you've told us what they are, not what they are not. So the court will deal what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it would be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken, refusing to accept that fact as pure foolishness. You got me. I don't know what the answer is. Yet. Yeah. I just examined the music box very thoroughly. I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Can we get that added to the court record? Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Ah! Could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Something's disturbed me, man. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like the one this music box makes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking the exact of the same thing. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, counsel? Why don't we, all the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. If I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on this music box is today's paper.
Take that!
Today's paper, Council? The headline is Pawnbroker perishes in pig press plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down? Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams. Of course. Juror number 5. Your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? What is the matter? You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And that particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh, yes, we're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? Hmm? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it! Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Oh, are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Order! Please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, Council, deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is treason, and what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I'd have expect you to know. For our sovereign governments, confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. Gilded perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must have surely been beside himself with worry, because the disc would be discovered before it found its way out of the country. It would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. But in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous, absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in the trial is the murder of the pawnbroker. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank. That being said, that being a most flagitious offense, for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us...
Hold it!
You may...
You gotta let us have a rabbit and pork here, come now. We got things to say.
I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are?
There's Skulkin, occupation as professional baddie.
It's Ringo Skulkin. We ain't baddies, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out a mother, man.
That's right, we're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers.
Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. A communications officer couldn't possibly steal the government, confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music bots aren't even Morse code. Some low-class bookmaker was negotiating with McGilded anyway. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway. Was it not? No relation to the man.
Look, all we done is walk into the cafe the other night like what he told us to do. No, if we know... Hold on. Look, all we done is walk into the cafe the other night like what he told us to do. If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it.
I think you two can be excused. Mr. Skulkin.
Well, Mr. Don't come now. What's up?
Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? It was on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally. And moreover, you did so as a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here.
We did, Gov, we did!
Quieten down, please. What do you say? What say you to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to.
You little rotter. Not getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secret, or it's supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about the reason whose job it was, eh? Poor bloke didn't have to die, did he?
Yes, to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it into the court record as evidence. It was deposited 2 days before the order. I am exhausted from all this dialogue. Cross-examination. Alright, well, hold on. I have a music box to look at first. See how the format yielded just sits in the music box? The man deposited at Windibanks? It couldn't be a more perfect fit. So there's no question then. This was designed to be played in this music box. Yet despite that, the sound it produces are neither musical nor do they appear to have any meaning. Which doesn't make any sense. Indeed. Perhaps there's more to this music box than meets the eye. Maybe I haven't discovered all its secrets yet. Oh? Hello. What is this? Oh! What is it, man? I just noticed something about this music box. looks like the bottom opens up as well.
Yay! Oh, come on, Neil, what are you waiting for? Let's open it.
Alright, then here goes. Look at that. There's another movement on the underside.
Look at that, there's another movement on the underside.
So, does that mean we can set another disc to play back on this side?
Yes, I think so. It looks like the two movements are linked together.
They're linked? So if you had two discs, they would both play back at the same time. That's why there's a second disc that was mentioned.
Hold it!
So is this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being intercepted. How could I possibly know? What do you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of the staff at the station where I work at would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no! Stop! Must say something! Stop! Let me guess. Juror number 5.
We regular communication station officers aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the Ministry. And Mr. Graydon is the team leader.
That's fascinating.
Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Clearly in presence of idols. Currently in presence of idols. Stop.
So you had access to the equipment used for these confidential communications, Mr. Green. Well, what's of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors so they can't be heard. But in any case, all messages is sent are enciphered. No employees can possibly understand them.
Oh no! Stop! I must say something. Stop! Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with Ministry technicians and Ministry communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communications. And he's received the top prize at the Cipher Crafting Convention 5 years in a row now.
That's fascinating.
Mr. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in the presence of Idol. Stop.
Your idol who is being convicted of high treason and murder. Well, your idol would appreciate it if you keep your mouth shut. You should really pick your idols more carefully. I tell you, this lawyer's accusation is completely unfounded.
Hold it!
They're not? Anyone with a brain that would be blatantly apparent will listen to that music box for you in a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance.
I'd be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir.
A lesson here in court?
Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones.
Tones, you say?
Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining these in different ways, you can construct letters.
I see.
For example, this is A, and this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this box, you only hear one tone, don't you?
But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same as everything. There's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code.
No!
Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspirations in the future. Stop. Nothing to say, but
Stop.
Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it?
Iris?
The government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music bots. Too many other things were falling into place so nicely.
There's still be something I haven't considered. Would it really be impossible to use the spots to play back Morse code? I mean, it seems impossible for right now. I need... The defense will concede that the music box is irrelevant for the time being. For the time being, such optimism too debonair to defeat, are we? The gesticulations are really starting to grate.
TV Morse code has two distinct tones.
Perhaps I should examine that music box in a little more detail. Yeah, we've seen... I mean, we don't have another disc to play, though. Right? Like, we've seen that... Okay, we've seen that this opens. Oh, the bottom opens up as well. If you had two discs, you'd be able to put them back at the same time. Will there be a second movement on the other side of the box? This movement is like the other one. Columns, length, and teeth are all the same. This movement only reverses a single tone like the other one. Yes, it must. So the length of the two tone columns is the exact same, so the single would be different to the single tone we've already heard. Each movement can only produce a single note. Then most produce different. The music box can only play two tones. Do I need a second tone, though? I'm gonna press. Maybe I can present the music bots anyway? 2 months ago, in that omnibus, McGildy killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Mason was the single man with Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an Austin quarter some years ago, but the people there remember little about him. It doesn't make much sense, though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? Indeed. There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all of this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason in order to take it to the meeting and negotiate a deal. Dear me. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you I have far more class than that. Brickmaker from Artisan Quarter and is brought to you communications officer.
I just found some evidence to link the two of them together.
Nothing more to add on that note. It's not return. Let us return to a witness testimony. I mean, I'm gonna give this a shot.
Objection!
It was wrong. Even though it's right. That's a wrong, but that is, I'm wrong, that is very much, that is very much, okay, that one doesn't count. Let's press. Okay, yeah, very clearly they want you to do the music. Bots thing. Oh, we need two. Oh, you need two tones. Short dot, long dash. It's so similar, the rhythm's the same and everything. Oh, you're such as fundamentally flawed. Music box is worthless. I'll give it a try. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in leaking government secrets. That's the belief of the defense. Does it please you in some way, my Japanese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Moscow, two tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, Counsel. Can you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher the secret messages in Morse code? Oh, it opens. There's another... I'm so glad I pressed space to present and completely not acknowledging the fact that the thing was open at the bottom, too. Wait, we have two discs, so we'll play that at the same time.
Got it!
Good gracious, what am I looking at? Another movement on the underside of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box. The sounds of both will play back at the same time. Good heavens! As the chord is heard, Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With the second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry? This poor excuse follower has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. May I remind the court that, as the witnesses pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with me killed it. Once he was striking a deal over the disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly. I had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe cross-examination should continue. From creating the victim and the under. This case must be there somehow, but I haven't found it yet. Yes, I have!
Once again, you give your argument more strength, man.
Reiterate your testimony. Alright, we're gonna save now. I guess? Even though this is very much I presented what should have been relevant, but I guess maybe the blood file thing is needed? Blood portfolio, right? Oh yeah, because that doesn't actually show... I mean, it says the blood on it is Mr. Mason's, but it's... this video game.
Objection!
Oh, F4. I'm not about to be wrong twice because the game is bad at figuring out my logic. Like, I know, it's a matter of, I know what to present at this point. It's just, oh, there's a random prompt. There's just gonna be like a prompt somewhere for me to present that I haven't found or something. And it might even be a thing of like, now I can present the blood thing, right?
Objection!
This is why the last chapters of these games is always so bad.
We'll press these two, I guess. What Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean?
That's right, yeah. Who else, eh? Telling me he thought he was a Pabano. Whoever another told him yet. But the Rana had a dodgy job pass. Eh, Hash?
Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? You mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours?
Well, sociable kind of baddies, you know. Sure, let's say Graydon's an old China.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin?
Eh?
No, the other Mr. Skulkin.
What? Oh, mate?
When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react.
Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when.
Together? Mr. Graydon, do you mean?
Yeah, with Ash, I mean. I mean, look at him now in his fancy whistler and flute, and you one... and even. But when he was younger, he was the poor part of town, like, on the poor part of town, just like us.
Is that so?
Well, he was always a daring one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with small ideas like what would never have gone through our heads.
God blimey, ain't that the truth? I remember Milverton and Culkin's milk run. That was a corker, eh?
Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit.
Right, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know, can that sentimental story be relevant somehow? We'll add it to the testimony. My lord? Yes, counsel. Your brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to the case. Very well, counsel. I'll permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add.
Say no more, Skulkin's never skulking.
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business?
Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really.
Never embarrassment to the locals, that's what it was all about.
That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate on what? Mason Milverton. Business name. So this business was a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved?
Yeah, that's it.
Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, was it?
Yeah, that's it.
And where did the Milverton part come from?
All right, I thought I clever call.
Hold it!
Like, would have thought it out.
Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to this
Objection.
drivel? Let me guess. You don't have anything to do with these, anything these two witnesses are saying? Tell me, why is it that it was only the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well... I have an email. It's a junk email.
It weren't the happiest that one came from.
Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much his wife walked out on him.
She took the name Graydon, and say,
My Ash will always be Milverton to us.
Milverton. So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunking. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you could rely on the testimony of these two thieves, Your communications officer attached to the civil service. Such your personal details would have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records. It's Mr. Graydon. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable for once. You were born as Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Very well, yes. Okay, so now I have to present... Oh my gosh. We could have just presented the... That's dumb. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things. And could turn out to be extremely important. Ashley Graydon's personal profile has been updated in the court record. All of a sudden, we seem to be up on our nets in a very serious matter of national security. Well, the so-called interception of secret government message is still conjecture at this stage.
I would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? We got a negotiation Jeannie heard on the omnibus 2 months ago, the breaking of the Windybanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Green in the omnibus who killed him.
No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered.
There's some meat between the two men somehow.
I know, but Mr. Green's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I'll have to keep, just making it in and across examination and those two brothers. Alright, well, you don't know, you're not related. Well, I believe that is, I'm saving first because we've been we've been trolled by this so many times. I'm saving. Oh. Not related to your presumably your brother?
Objection!
Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And as we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with McGilded, yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. That's right, only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say, saints alive? Mr. Ashley Milverton? Is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? I don't... As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service, and it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you've been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it to McGilded in collaboration with your father. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? You collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. By dint of this music box, you mean, Counsel? Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information. It's presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever. But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Windibanks 2 days ago in an attempt to recover the 2 articles Mr. McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbroker. This time, determined to recover the second disc. Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box?
We never knew nothing about that.
On the night that Mr. Windibank was killed. The intruder to the pawnbroker touched one item and one item alone. The music box. Rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera, indeed. So, the question that naturally begs answering is this. Why was that only that one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall in the wrong hands into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Is he gonna? He's gonna say, "Oh, you say that there's a second disc. We'll prove it. Show it." Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeves of your jacket. There is? Oh, there is now. What? 2 nights ago. We know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windibank's pawnbrokery. One took the life of the pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch of Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Great, that wound on your arm you seem to be trying to hide. It's a bullet wound, isn't it?
He's got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon.
You guys realize he's on trial for
both murder and high treason at this point, right?
Don't acknowledge my presence there. I don't acknowledge my presence. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those are my terms, remember? And I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly I was a fool. I don't think I could trust common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Winterbanks that night.
He's gonna be like, oh, but I didn't shoot her. But where's your proof that I shot him? Where's the gun that I used? Blah, blah, blah.
I paid this pair of 10 guineas to accompany me, and as you can notice, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sorry I recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to go down without a fight. Which I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... Well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the two firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers gun hit the pouch around Mr. Solm's waist. And the bullet from Mr. Winterbank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm. Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Winterbank was shot by a third gun, which can only have been fired by the third intruder. Goodness! That's right, Mr. Graydon. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Winterbank that night is you!
Hold it!
Little upstart. You have made a great mistake. You made a great mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there on the pawnbrokers. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I'd built for myself at the communications station. But the thought never crossed your mind. Did you never consider the possibility? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment.
Oh, he's saying when he's saying he saw her. He's gonna say he saw Gina shoot the pawnbroker.
You see, this makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client.
What? Oh, are you suggesting?
I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him.
You what? Order! Order! Order!
Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial.
Thank goodness, because it has been almost 5 hours, and it's almost 3 a.m.
Mr. Green. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as the killer.
Yeah, 2:50 a.m. currently.
Oh, I understand fully.
Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more.
You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. Nothing would give me greater pleasure. The moment of the shooting. While these ruffians were jostling for the burger, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Winterbank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Good gracious, this is quite a... This is... I have never seen so many lies in one segment of testimony. Holy shit, where do we start? Where do we start with? Hold on. First off, the camera showing her holding the picture. Oh, well, where'd the picture go? There it is, a picture showing her holding the gun that she was found with, that was found with her in the storage room. Second, the fact that there's still a third unexplained bullet. Third, why would you abscond with the gun is the murder weapon? You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger. Order! It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details.
Yes, well, I'm sorry about that.
Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You see the blood spattered all over the accused's coat. Are you sure of that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black coat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time. Really? If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here. Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? We're gonna have to save a lot here, because this might... because it... Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurist detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry.
There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. All his ideas are sound.
Ideas are no use to us here. In science as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. So they're gonna say, in Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used, with your lordship's permission. We could shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes.
This doesn't look good, Bruno.
Why not?
No, don't we? There's blood all over the front of Tina's coat.
Yeah. And we know that it's Mr. Mason's blood.
You can test it with your chemicals.
Oh, help. You're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday.
Don't leave, Teeny. I'm going to see you.
That's what he was eavesdropping about. Son of a bitch, Gregson. But that's not Mr. Windibank's blood. That seems from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by Mr. McGilded, who was wearing the coat at the time. Yeah, but they're gonna say, ooh, it's not real science. Which is valid, but at the same time... My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution. Overruled. Lord Van Zeeks, make it so at once. With pleasure, my lord. And while we await the results, the defense may proceed with cross-examination. Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Chino will be... Counsel? Yes, my lord. Your cross-examination. Of course, my lord. If this cross-examination doesn't go well, if I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence, or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Which is why I'm gonna say, because I feel like they're gonna do something annoying, which is like, ooh, you didn't find it in the what? Before pressing everything. Okay, I don't remember his testimony at this point. I'm still near the interest of the show.
Hold it!
Mr. Windibank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash was carrying the counter when suddenly he appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Unfortunately, I wasn't too close.
I've never been so scared in all my life. Yeah, we're just a regular mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We don't like violence.
It says the pair carried a gun. What do you mean by when you say you were near the entrance to the shop? I was in the doorway running my hands over the shelves of forfeited items. Okay, for the music parts, of course. The broker went for Dash. In the first place, Ringo joined in making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong.
I was running out my little bro, but the geezer chucked me over the booming counter. So I pulled me gun on the fella, and that's what made him scarper.
A pair of you setting upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you.
Sorry, God.
Hold it!
You mean less than what you were shot? Yes, although I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. Was it at that moment when it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. The bullet went on to strike the counter and the wall behind you. So it would appear. When I looked at my arm, I saw it bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. It seems I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor. I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Windibank intend to shoot him, do you think? Well now, I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home.
When I pulled me gun on him, he tried to shove me out of the way. And he scarpered for that door. Out back.
At which point what did you do?
Hold it!
You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. What about this peephole in the door you mentioned?
Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom's a solid job, made of stout wood. Storeroom door. But there's a small opening in it about head height that lets you see what's in there from the outside.
Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night.
What about your burgling brothers? Did you see what went on through this peephole as well?
Not likely, God. Didn't say nothing of the sort. Not likely, God. Didn't say nothing of the sort.
I doubt these two buffoons were even aware of the people's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Winterbank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there.
The defendant?
Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man. And then, what did you see next? The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety.
Hold it!
Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Winterbank's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Green, that bullet was fired at you. But no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Winterbank's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin... This gun grounded the detective, but this was another gun entirely, a third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon. So there clearly, had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
Objection!
But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, counsel. Sorry? You must consider the facts and evidence in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, but then all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at that moment that the gutter rat shot him in the back. Chilling image, I must say.
Hold it!
All over her? Yes, through the people, I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now, with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, that garment is sullied with the victim's blood. Well, it's sullied with blood, that's for sure.
It's not Mr. Winterbank's blood, is it?
No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when the Gilded started him 2 months ago.
It's so annoying. If one thing that's not Harley's chemical analysis, we could prove that.
But they won't, so unfortunately, we can't use it as evidence to support our case.
Ah, then.
And do you have this gun with you now?
Hold it!
Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right, after the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over. Over what? Over where exactly? In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peephole to the floor on my side of the door. Why on earth would she do such a thing? I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime? Yes, it was yours truly. I left the clear up to my lackeys and left. Clear up?
We made a bit of a mess on the counter, so Mr. Fulton. We made a bit of a mess on the counter, so Mr. Fulton, that's all you told us to tidy up. He thinks, well, he thinks he's up ruined months at times.
I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Grin, when you left the pawnbroker that night, was by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket?
You little toe-rag!
Hey!
Excuse me!
Gentlemen!
Something wrong, Sunshine.
That should be my line. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin?
Blimey, this needs a bit like a hooligan, ain't he?
What was going on just now?
You saw him. He grabbed me whistle. Why the blaze, as he said? Didn't you mention the third gun will be got you down to the station?
And why didn't you?
Cause we didn't know nothing about it. Or that flaming people in the door.
Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my racks sometimes. Not hurt, are ya?
God blimey, see the way he's looking at me? I'm telling you, this thing gives me the willies.
That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone.
No, that wasn't like Gracie at all. He's normally all sweetness and light no matter what I say to him.
Yes, well, I think you may be a special case, Iris.
Anyway, that was definitely out of character.
My lord! My lord, requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Explain yourself, officer. I had the results of the test that were ordered earlier, my lord. The blood on the accused's overcoat. Did they really do the... Yeah, I guess they really did do... Thank you, officer. Well, very well. The cross-examination is hereby suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel? No, my lord. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Tina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of spattering following a gunshot wound. End of report. Goodness me! See, what did I tell you?
Objection!
No, the blood on that coat is not Mr. Windibank's. What on earth makes you say that, counsel? The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Windibank's, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the Omnibus case. Well, the defendant cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for Mr. McGilden's innocence? And yet, now the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shall
there's any shred of respect you may have earned to yourself in this country. But that was...
I call it a bloody disgrace. Treachery, that's what it is.
How to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope can answer or that problem out. It can't be done. But we use Mr. Schultz's special formula chemicals to... Mr. Schultz is a detective, not a chemist. Would you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? Well, heroes came to a starving boy and he ran away crying. Sherlock Holmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this court. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish. How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir? As the witness said, the accused's coat was spattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Gritton could possibly know that is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. My lord! My lord, been a long battle this one, but this old warhorse has something to say now, if you please. Mr. Foreman, as of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now. Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
I don't know if I should reload here or not.
Guilty.
Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. Solomon should show up, right? The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. What do you mean? Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the juror's decision being equally unsuccessful. I don't believe it. After I've come so far, this all unraveling on me so fast. How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Officer, you delivered the report now. That will be all, thank you. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo. But scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. But by the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Ah! Mr. Schultz! What? What is the meaning of this? Order! 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 What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in the hospital. Well, you see, here I would be had I not been set upon an errand. What errand?
Hurry! You make it last!
Yes, good day, Iris. Because I was rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me. In what manner, sir? I have something of great importance I wish to give the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us time? What say you to this, Lord Menzies? This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already.
Exactly, having spent so long already, we don't want to go on wasting any more precious time.
As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to
Deny defense a mere 5 minutes. Alright. Well then, very well then. Council, you have 5 minutes. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked just for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may be too much for me. Forgive me should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible.
Hurry! The place is full of weeds! Don't you see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is?
Ah, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of support to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal of the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right, modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? Lavender for a Shiki rat. A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Mrs. Sato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand. And that you, Mr. Naruhodo, would, fighting fairly as you are wont to do, would find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you are to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato-san. Where can it be? What is this?
Oh! It's the machine I made!
Ah! The cat door thing?
What is this? It's my latest invention!
What is it?
I call it the cat flapper. You can make a cat butt for a little furry friend like Wacky in seconds! What's Susie up to?
Mrs. Sato noted the following words before she left. I am a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world.
Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say, I've been a complete failure.
I'm sweating so hard. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when you left Winterbanks in pursuit of the thieves, Mr. Sato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, my dear fellow. No, not at all cryptic, then. Sato-san used this cat flapper map that night, but why? Added to the court record, but we haven't had a chance to examine it. Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already? Oh yeah, it literally isn't letting me do anything. I'm grateful to you for affording that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. Well, give me a second. I have another piece of evidence that I have to go over, now that I can actually do so. Nothing out of place? What do you mean, nothing out of place? Oh, those are just teeth look like they can rip through almost anything.
I mean, let me have a special alloy developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second so I can get through any kind of door in no time at all.
And what are the two parts at the top there?
And those are for attaching hinges to the section of the door that gets cut out.
Right, of course.
Knowing your assist machine for power, it can make the mincemeat even the toughest doors.
Sounds so charming and friendly when you know what it's for, but just the reality of the cat pipeline is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction.
My guy is so adorable. There's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even involving deadly weapons.
Wait a minute. She used this. Do I have a picture of the door? 1 a.m. 1:30 a.m. She used this on the door. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast.
Is it really?
The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me. I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. So I'm gonna save the game. My lord, the defense requests further cross-examination. Further cross-examination.
Objection!
The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness.
Objection!
The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. My lord, I am requesting your permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel. No, not no, my lord.
So nobody can say anything then. If we're not asked to resume his cross-examination, Mr. Green,
The court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd! I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of the proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. So save the game, and probably over a different, and we're gonna save it over a different file, and just in case we chose wrong. Counsel, you must use but one statement from the witness's testimony, and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against him. A single chance to present evidence? If following that the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further. My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Why did nobody catch him? Mr. Sholmes!
stands so insouciantly before the court in a state of such high fever. Whether the man has an extraordinary strength of mind or extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down. Or Iris. And I won't waste this final chance that Susato-san has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of this trial. Well then, under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination. The moment of the shooting again. Still in the interest of the shop. Sharp pain in his arm. Shows up the storm. I can see him through the peephole. Present. I need the photo from 1 a.m. Objection! What? Okay, that's really lame. That's lame. No, okay, so what should have happened there if this game was programmed well, we would have pointed out, hey, there's no people here. The people was made after the shooting occurred. Alright, well, let's load. I guess this one? One statement, blah blah blah. Now me and the game are both embarrassed because I said an objection like it was gonna be right, and then the game was wrong. I'm like, ah, yes, I see. I understand. I see very clearly there's no people in the door at 1 a.m., but there is at 1:30. And then the game was like, oh, but there was a peephole there. Well, then the game was like, no, this is the wrong piece of evidence or the wrong statement, one of the two. Also, it's saying that there's a save right there, but it definitely didn't actually save right there. Oh, why is autoplay on? What? Also, why am I not able to save right here? This one. That's so dumb. So then what am I supposed to present and where? I'm gonna look at this thing. Okay, it doesn't say for sure that she used it. Can I examine the handle? What is this? It just examines the other stuff. Yeah, see, I saw this and I'm like, oh, there's clearly something weird about the door then. And that's why I was like, ooh, let's look and see what happens when, and that's when I took another look at the pictures and saw that there wasn't a peephole at 1 a.m. Which you can clearly see in the picture here. But here, the peephole is present at 1:30. I
can't press him anymore. Let me see if I get... You can see him through the people in the door. He picked it up and made his escape. This is, this might be, it might be right here. Well, let's see.
Objection!
No, it wasn't there either. Okay. I mean, yes, I'm correct. I know what I'm trying. This is so annoying. I know what I'm trying to say, but the player character is too dumb to be like, ooh. Or to be like, but the player character is too... Naruhodo is too dumb to realize it himself. Blah, 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 blah. He's very little... He's not feeling much. Fully prepared. Obviously, the cross-examination is the correct thing. Maybe I just need to present the cat door thingy. Suddenly entrance of the shop, he threw him over the counter, constructing in his arm. Pursued him to the storeroom, concealed through the peephole. Maybe I wasn't the cat gun?
Objection!
Yes, I do. What on earth? Oh, that's what it... Are you serious? Okay, so I hate this fucking game. So, no, this is wrong. What should have happened, logically, is we present the photo showing that what normally would have happened in a game like this. I guess this is just a special thing of, oh, you present the thing that you were just given. But what normally would have happened is we would have had to present the photo, point out the door, then present the other photo, or that the door wasn't there, then present the other photo and point out that the door was there, and then show them this. What on earth is that? It's Contraption Council.
Oh, it's my cat foot, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. It can get clean for any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it.
That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please, without their owners. I'm sure we can all figure out, or work out that for ourselves. But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door. Not being gatekeeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way, then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, We arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Windibank had taken place.
That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Mr. Sholmes.
Yes, the three of us were together. And I guess you added Mr. there. And it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time.
Your assistant did what?
There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storage room.
This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much as my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake?
Yes. How could you?
What?
Counsel, kindly see what you mean. Alright. It's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she did, the door had no hole to look through.
What? No!
Objection!
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting the peephole in the door was...
Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device.
Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions? This is a most serious act of vandalism.
For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes.
Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel.
The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom room door.
Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back.
However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies.
Oh,
Now it's time for Van Zeeks, right? Objection?
order!
Is there any credence in this revelation?
Objection!
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly, this is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me.
I'm afraid not, sir.
Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to think that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door?
And yes, I designed it to be very powerful. It can get through even the toughest of doors.
That's absurd. I don't believe it for a second.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
What?
Wacky, Chewy, time for dinner.
When did you do that?
Yes, the audio broke.
Well,
Oh, young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey. I'm not done yet. Don't worry. This doesn't mean that the peephole in the storeroom at the window was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was.
Oh, but there is.
it's easy.
What?
This cat flap the cat flaps on my cat flap are my all of its size. And the lenses, the people, well, at Windermans are an exact match. Old Silky's lost for words.
That's not work, Iris. Thank you.
And now it's my learned friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home.
Oh, yes, that's true.
I think you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the people has the dimensions that are perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the people cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer.
Ugh! I have the proof. What is the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Van Zeeks?
It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the people was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof.
Oh, but there is.
Ugh. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the people was made, my learned friends claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation.
What?
But, would you let me present my evidence? Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel?
Don't do it now, Uno! This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through!
I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Susato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. Very well, the counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the peephole in the door of Windbite storeroom was created after the event and not before. Here we go. This photo at 1 a.m.
Take that!
What are you? A print from that detective's infernal cameras again? My judicial assistant, Miss Susato Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I've never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure that I had the necessary proof. And the necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel. This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it! This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole of any description. Ugh! Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crimes you claim to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. Ugh. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Order! I am satisfied the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious. That's not the only thing we now know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with the crimes. But more importantly... Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zeeks? The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene, it's true. And I was shot in the arm, it's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. No! I don't believe this. But they're right, as it stands now. I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit.
Still, he can't worm his way out of it now.
Iris?
You know what they say? There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat is bolted. Isn't that right, Laura?
I mean,
Charlie always says, one line begets another. No, wait, that might have been a line I wrote from in one of my stories.
no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Green, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? You said in your testimony. It reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, counsel. I'm not sure what... I'm not entirely sure which thing he's talking about right now. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witnesses' statements. This shows that Mr. Gray had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known about. Namely... the bloodstains on the coat? The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right, the victim's blood splattered all over her when she shot him. But how could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the peephole in the... The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Great. It's the nature of the lie that you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously, I... Has the cat got your tongue, witness? The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred. Once I returned to the shop, having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. And since that time, police have been at Windibanks constantly carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course. I knew it! I called it out as soon as he said the blood all over the coat. The place is shot full upon articles, and my lads have to thoroughly examine all of them. So I get the order that the officers working around the clock in shifts so we can hit through it all. And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. And therefore, you should have known nothing about the peephole in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime taking place through the peephole in the door. Tobias Gregson. How on earth is that possible? Can I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks? Speak, Inspector.
It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so if it's all the same to you...
Permission denied.
Oh,
It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes.
of course, sir.
Mr. Graydon? You shouldn't have known about the existence of that people. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize I trust the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that it could be. Who was the person in question, Counsel? Who gave this witness the details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimonies?
Take that!
The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson.
Me?
Objection!
You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today.
Holy crap, we're going on 6 hours.
Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess, while police executed and the subpoena and brought the man here from the communications station. And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea, no inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court. Are you suggesting that until such a time as he was summoned? Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the people. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder.
You were suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin.
Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
This is a bloomin' outrage. Why, I'd be giving away the details of our investigation to this fella, huh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess. That's in any case. Had you forgotten about that?
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbroker. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after the proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view of the stand where such illicit discussions couldn't have possibly occurred.
What about the Did you forget about the whispering?
Ugh!
Oh, I just remembered something, Ernie.
What is it, Iris?
There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Teeny was testifying.
Oh yeah, now that you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve Gilded's music box from the scene of the crime.
That's it! It was during that testimony.
I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some sort of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon... It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then.
You little doll rat, you're making all this up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving all my confidential details to the likes of this bloke?
Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense. What deal, Council? Or perhaps in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Green agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. Oh, well,
Objection!
It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. But the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. Inspector Credson really did strike a deal with Mr. Braden. Then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it!
Do you think it could be?
Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of this alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness? Desk? Right.
Take that!
Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case?
What? What are you getting at now, Sunshine?
Is it possible that this other top secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice.
How the bleeding no, could you?
We discovered, during the course of this trial, the music bots deposited at window banks by Badness McGilded. A special music bot is designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on the pair of discs that were in Gilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second disc containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case.
You little... Ow!
Ordar! On the day of the incident, when we met you at Windows, you said this.
I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilden's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over.
No, don't give it to him. It's mine, it is. Mine!
I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now.
Scotland Yard already knew at the time, isn't that right? That Madness McGilded was involved in the stealing of government secrets.
My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. And that explains why when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Why, I mean, not likely. I mean, I wasn't sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all.
Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music discs, you did reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness? To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony? There's no other way that Mr. Green could have known about the existence of the people. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. No, God!
Objection!
If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that? Because Inspector Grayson is a Scotland Yard detective. What?
What's that supposed to mean, eh?
A seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly he would not have said a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No, he would have insisted on the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand. Good gracious, then you mean to say Inspector Grayson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person! The defense demands the inspector is searched at once.
Definitely. They have only struck a deal with each other when Jimmy was testifying before, and Percy hasn't moved from the witness stand since.
My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately. Very well, Inspector.
This young man wants to tone down his imagination. He insulted me and my profession quite enough. However, I'll put this matter to bed to dispel any doubts about my involvement. I'll have police him into a body search.
What? He's going to agree to it?
I presume you're aware of the precipice in which you now teeter, my learned student friend. You made a most serious accusation against Scotland Yard here. If following the search of the inspector's personal offense no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand yours that you are severely reprimanded.
That sounds serious. Indeed, to have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government would be able to overlook.
You just took me Bruno because you're scared.
The accusation is beyond serious. We must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. I can't imagine Grayson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. This must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here. Very well, counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time. Yes, my lord. Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal effects? I want to search someone else. Yes, the defense formally demands the search be conducted. Well, don't say you aren't warned, but your typical nipping stubbornness made me let you in hot water this time. Perhaps this lesson will do you some good.
Fair enough. I got nothing to hide.
Very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector.
Objection!
The defense demands a search, but not of the Inspector Grayson.
What? Now what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me.
No, Inspector, not you. Somebody else.
What's the meaning of all this, eh? You lost at last, have you, sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational.
Be quiet, all of you.
Be quiet, all of you! I'm not sure what you all told him to do in having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way.
Well said. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction and eagerly awaits his next words.
You're what? Oh, don't be hasty, my lord.
I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today. I'm fairly certain that I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be. Counsel, of whom do you request the search? She's the only... This is probably gonna be wrong.
Take that!
My lord, the defense demands this person be searched at once. Good grief, what possible relation could exist between that person and the case?
Objection!
She's the defendant! It seems my Japanese friend does not understand the gravity of requesting such a search. If the defense counsel seems humiliation... Okay, yeah, that was wrong. Alright, we'll let that be wrong.
Let's examine the disc at the moment. The question is, where could you have hidden it?
The trouble is, has been the witness stand the entire time. I full view of everyone in the courtroom. Not in a situation to about hiding anything. Only one place you could have possibly hidden it, then. Another person's pocket, someone with them on the stand. Okay, yeah. Grade him. Right? If this is wrong, then... Mr. Ashley Graydon, my lord, the defense demands that he be searched at once. Very well, I presume you will not protest, Mr. Graydon? Au contraire. So a brief body search was carried out by the court bailiff. A few short minutes later, it was revealed that Mr. Graydon had nothing unusual on his person at all. Alt F4. I wonder if he's bluffing. I'm fine with saves coming that because search someone else. We had to sit through this dialogue because that's the earliest point. Objection, blah blah blah. The defensive ends of search, but not of Gregson. No, not you. Somebody else. To put up with this nonsense. Be quiet, all of you. What we told him to, blah blah blah. He should have said that in what is estimated faith. That's the British way. Yeah, I figured it wasn't gonna be him, but my original thoughts were, oh, she probably pickpocketed it. Thinking about the things I've seen in court today. Fairly certain I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be. Let's try Nash.
Take that!
My lord Nash Skulkin. Well, I never. Hey, blimey, me? Hey? Very well then, bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Please, my lord.
Inspector?
Scotland Yard has to object to the search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But Lord Van Zeeks, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Bailiff, carry out the search.
Now, hold on a mo. I don't know nothing about no disc. Cut it out! Ah! Here, my lord.
Here, my lord, in the witness's pocket. I found this.
Good lord, that's another music box disc.
I don't know nothing about it. Nothing.
That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson?
Order! Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself?
Gordon Bennett, Gordon Flavin Bennett. I don't know nothing about that disc, honest to God.
Please, Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck between this witness and this detective, no? Without any question, my lord. Then, for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of a disc that the inspector traded for information? Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? When he violently assaulted the witness? It was, yes, during my cross-examination, Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit to nothing of the sort. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently.
Yeah, I did know. Not me. Nothing was gonna fall clean off again. I was wishing I'd been born as my brother, I was.
And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that?
I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly tried to grab me and whistle like that and started shaking me. Why the places didn't get me to the third gun when we got you down to the station? That's what he say. Yeah, they were in my ear all he did. My head's still throbbing now.
The way the detective behaved was extremely out of character. Looking back at it now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Oh, bless my wig! You hid it?
No.
But I'm afraid I failed to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc years after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions.
My orders were: recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the Ministry, And do it on the QT. Strictly hush hush.
Hush hush. A top secret assignment, is it?
As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem if that information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it could be problematic.
Does that solve the situation, Inspector?
I'm operating under direct orders from the Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance you might be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness.
Ah, does this mean he only pretended to attack Mr. Sculpin in order to get close enough to slip the second disc into his pocket? So it was all a pretense? Well now, Inspector Grayson. And you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit the accusation made against you of this alleged deal?
They're still gonna deny it, aren't they?
I'm literally dying of thirst because I haven't drank anything in like an hour or now. Admit to it, yours truly, please. Mr. Graydon. Clearly our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that dish to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the people? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yes, I lied in my testimony, that I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit.
Yeah.
All of this. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with the detective. All of this is all of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. What? Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc?
Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I'm acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's in the name of justice. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions.
This is quite the conjuring indeed. Rarely have I ever encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. Well, now, as a fellow servant of my queen and country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me. Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. Detective has rarely much trust your eyes. Well, at least I cannot see. I don't believe it. These 6 jurors are... They're going to believe Gregson. If they declare the decision now... Is Tilly going to be found guilty? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. It's some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Windibank and stole those government secrets. There's some evidence that forced Gregson into admitting they struck a deal with the witness. Well then, counsel, I think it's time I imposed on the jurors to declare their final decisions. No.
Not yet. There's one last thing we need. That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you thus want presented to the court. I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their lenience. To him, we found guilty.
So there's no choice then. We're going to throw some more evidence at them.
This is it now. It all comes down to this. What do I present evidence against? Gregson or Graydon? I'm gonna say Graydon. I should say before I did this. Mr. Graydon, there's one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. You misguided fool. What do you intend to show me now? I have nothing left to lose. I assure you, I will do nothing. This is my last chance. Looks like I'm going to have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get him to admit the deal he clearly struck on the stand. The music box? Oh! Yeah, I should have said before I did this, I'm trying to examine this dent in the bullet, but I guess that's not it. I genuinely don't know what to present here. The music box.
Take that!
Is that Mr. McGilded's peculiar music box council? Yes, with the disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music bots again. Only this time, with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well. Goodness, this disc council? No, wait, I can't let you do that. Why not? Because, no. Because it's got nothing to do with this case, that's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector. The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music were part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code comprises of two distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. Now we have a chance to confirm that theory. For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. You go in the whole courtroom here, confidential information like that, it's treason. It's Morse code, though. Only code breakers would know what it says. Then do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness. You're mad. You let that secret information out of the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government.
Look,
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leak confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, and all because, by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Oh, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. My lord, if you please, this court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Menzies, for Pete's sake, stop it!
Objection!
Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Arrgh. In this court, my duty is to the law, so let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul. I'll drink to that. No! Very well. The defense's stance here and that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen to this music bot, as this music box is set in operation once more. This time, with the second disc in place and both discs playing simultaneously.
Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code.
Alright, I admit it. Whatever you want. But for the love of God, shut that bloomin' bots up!
Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the people in the pawnbroker's storeroom, Inspector?
I did.
Stop! What are you doing, Martin?
It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess, we were stood here in the stand together. And that's when he approached me with the deal.
Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst, you there. The detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me here at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. All information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed.
I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole in the storeroom and the bloodstains on the overcoat.
By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. Yet you still provided those details to facilitate this witness's perjury.
I did. But then it turned out the people had only been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest.
Well, Mr. Green, what do you have to say for yourself?
He still admits to nothing, right? 4:30 a.m.
There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question. And you perpetuated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windibank. You... Traitor!
Bailiff! Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once!
That's it then. It's all over. I despise my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me.
That's not... I doubt that's true. They probably spent every penny they had... what little money they had on food. And shelter and clothes.
So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole.
And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination.
But then you decided to sell...
But then you decided to sell government secrets? Sorry, it's been 6.5 hours actually. I'm really... and it's 4:31 a.m. I'm really tired. Why?
Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out with more money than anyone who had lived in that squalor could ever imagine. And one day I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. You've been with a talent, so you are. I've money to throw you away if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with me little plan now. I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. I was responsible for inspections of the ministry's communications office. It was a simple enough task.
The devil's offerings. How easy it is to succumb.
But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure my actions were untraceable.
By using the music bots.
My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton. That's right, he was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagined his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier.
Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh?
He was a different man than the one in my memory. A thin, frail old man. The poverty had never broken him, nor never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made. Music box discs, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I've brought the score with me. There are two, actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch me my tools, would you? And the loft. That's how I had him make the two discs.
The
too. We're taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. If it meant that I could deal with McGilded in 2 separate transactions, it meant the first involved the 2 discs and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then on receipt of the second disc, you'll pay 1,000 guineas. So, what happened to the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of the deal the exchange of the second disc? Yes. Yes, I'd sold the man information that way a number of times already. But it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. That doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. For why it was on that omnibus. For why it was on that omnibus 2 months ago. Your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded and not yourself? When I received 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. My father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious, and when he did, he said to me, "Inside this exchange, you let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore." And that was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the discs I'd asked him to make. He never knew. And just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore my father's name. To exact revenge. Revenge? As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine. McGilded brought his wealth and influence to bear, in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, the evidence was fixed, and the witnesses were bribed. The trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. My feet had barely touched British soil that day. I walked into that hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I had made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then. So I spent nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. I'm willing to pay the price. There are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything in his favor in this courtroom to ensure that you walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. The tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. McGilded's death that day was caused by this man? Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. What's this, officer? Just one of the house led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. It is time for the inspection. I'm going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. was that policeman who came to tell Gilded he could ride the omnibus. He could do the omnibus here. That's right, an imposter hired by me. Gilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened the witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham police officers ushered Gilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. A spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? He's talking about, Gina. Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with Gilded. That was a cat scratching at the door. Give me a moment. Okay, sorry about that. I just delivered you to get some water while I was gone. Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc with my father had taken to exchange with Gilded. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Hey, look at that now! What an ingenious invention! So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Windybank's pawnbrokery. Hey, to pawnbroker's tickets, what is? You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name, just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. I've got it rolled in pawn for you. If it's a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will. I've never heard of a pawnbrokery being used quite in that way before. Be not, Mr. Green. I wouldn't. Pawnbrokers are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now, that when we first met you at Wintermates that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lester written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial, that pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately she was another of McGilded's pawns, that he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had taken the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline. He was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to Winterbanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only Gilded's overcoat and the one disc in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing. Because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved. Inspector, you recovered first. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible. So we started gathering the fellow's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I saw the music box and the second disc was still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into that place that same night. With the help of your friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. When Ash and Ringo were searching the counter, I'd located the box I'd sold to McGilded on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside. Yes, I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief, but then something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? What are you doing in my shop? A gunshot rang out in the shop and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly, but unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom for refuge. A sorry, sorry tale. It had all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Ash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Winterbates on that wretched night.
Earlier, you called Gilded a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony. For what you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in Gilded. Yes, I think I have.
Well, this has been a long but exhausting time. Tell me about it. We started this stream 7 hours ago. 6 hours and 51 minutes ago, basically. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Grayson, Lord Mr. Ashley Graydon, has been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Winterbank and the stealing of government secrets. Very good. And you, Inspector. Regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself. Yes, my lord. Of course. It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains whether you were doing or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Now to the defendant, Miss Tina Lestrade.
Ah, yay.
It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Guard up squad standing by, sir. This is really it now. What? The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
That's the stuff I will talk! Finally, Uno, you finally managed to do it!
Finally is the word. I wasn't really sure if we'd come out on top for a while there.
Susie was right, you're the best lawyer in the world!
Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet.
What are you looking at me like that for?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider. 2 months ago in my courtroom, no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully interwin debates pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilded's property, it seems.
I never done nothing of the sort!
Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilded's coat in your cell yesterday or anything.
I just wanted to get excited about throwing a party for Teeny this evening.
And turning all your attention to the defense, determining that when played together the music box contained a message in Morse code was, well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, counsel. Quite so. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my lord for his courage here today. I propose a toast. To demand the government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Only if someone knows Morse code, and then we only listen for like a couple of seconds of it. Ah! Very sorry about that. It was the only way I could get Inspector Grayson to admit what he'd done, so... If I may say something on that point. Isn't that... it's about the sounds produced by the music box before. I do wonder if it was really Morse code at all. What are you saying, madam? Oh, well, it's just I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So the world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact. Goodness, madam, an unhealthy level of obsession, one feels. But I must say that in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones. What? Could that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all? It's probably encrypted Morse code or some shit. My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again.
Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain mysterious secrets, sunshine.
This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of government communications. We know McGildy conspired to trade national secrets lie in the secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we had no need to pursue the matter further. It's really going to bother me. Miss Lestrade.
Yeah, my lord?
That what you have seen here today in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalog of depravity. Appalling experience to befall any child.
Come on, it ain't nothing I Summers. Those back in the slums. In the back slums.
Beg your pardon?
If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes.
Gina.
Well, I reckon I've worked something out today. Well, it ain't fair, but if you want it to change, you gotta sort out at home. Make sure you are yourself.
Well, that's a very laudable lesson, so I eagerly look forward to the born-again Miss Lestrade never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Winterbeck, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty. That is all. Court is adjourned. On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my Far Eastern friend. Oh. Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or from the Empire of Japan. We're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You know I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did? When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Through you, I hoped to look into the eyes of the man I once knew and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today, about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Please don't tell me there's an episode 6. Alright, then I'll wait for that day if I must. Coming to be known as the Leader of the Bailey in my retirement from service 5 years ago, it gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned communities fellow, until we meet again. April, 5:24 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendants Lobby, Antechamber, rather. It's done. It's over at last. This last episode is currently 3 hours. Over 3 hours, actually. But Miss Harris disappeared too. Oh, congratulations, Gene. You knew it all along. I knew you were innocent.
Well, you did what you said. You said, Mr. No-Otto. You believed in me, right up to the end. You're as hard as your name.
What's odd about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I?
No one ever has before, see? Get the promise, I mean, properly.
It's awful.
I figured something out today. All my life growing up in the stores, I never trusted no one. That's just because I've been scared of you and stayed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more ultimately let you down.
Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of that in 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and paid for it. The portrayal left a big scar. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have to thank you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson.
Oh, well, if you say so. I'll make a fat more sense to me, though.
I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure.
Crying out loud, pack it in! But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone is you know, alright.
Thanks. This is the way I see it, Ryonosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. I'm sweating bullets. Can this please end? After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. And am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Pardon the interruption. Jones? Yep. But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? Ah, that voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Ha ha ha! Yes, it was me all along. I would have said when you finally noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling.
Mr. Jones!
Haha, yes, it was me all along, you see? I'm dying, but actually... I I'd assumed you'd been taken back to the hospitals, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happen to be aware that I have one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending on me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruto. Your tireless effort justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat to you. Thank you.
So great detective you are. Great being as cold as ice, maybe.
I hurt you in some way, Miss Lester.
You've been having snoozing in our soft bed, so I hasn't been fighting for our lives.
Oh, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I've indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not about as cold as ice, but, well, how I feel. Shake your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes. And in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestry. What's that supposed to mean? That's all I wanted. Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to abide it, but... The trouble in the trial of that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. All done, Mr. Sholmes, not alarming in the slightest.
Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because I want to try not getting the trial he was working on a dead anyways, eh?
The very point I'm trying to make, as exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilden. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational treatment myself.
Yeah, well, it don't bother me.
Oh, really?
Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like him upstairs.
I'm upstairs? You mean like God?
Yeah, him upstairs knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got wrong in the suit. There's some codes that looks like that Voltron or rotten into the core. At the end of the day, him upstairs makes only get what they deserve.
I suppose it's one way of looking at it. Doing justice is one thing, though the Reaper taking matters into his own hand and claiming lies is another.
I ain't like the McGillards into this world. I ain't like the McGillards to this world, so I ain't scared. Our principles say.
I'm afraid you were just to be admired, Miss Lestry.
Oi, just give it a rest, alright?
As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal is very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina.
Well, there you are, Hurley! How long have you been there? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there.
Oh, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. This pair has made utter fools of themselves.
What happened?
As you know, I have a vision for disguise. I was hiding in this room just as a bailiff. At least I wasn't knows my roses at all. Haha, they had no idea. Can you imagine? Would you credit it?
I'm not really sure.
I beg your pardon.
I'm sorry, Hurley, but you still have the lady presence you seem to think you have. I bet you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day.
I'll be careful. Ouch.
Yeah, it's such a shame. I was hoping for a party in Virginia tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look at me like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. Don't look at me like I'm gonna be going nowhere for a while. Yeah, the judge's power. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All of them offenses. Balls again, breaking and entering, taking the book girl's stuff from... What was in blah blah blah.
Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense.
But driving an offense is a job, isn't it?
I don't think so. Can we please conclude this? Still, it's got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Otto? Well, no. But I was never a pickpocket. Anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I might do something like me from the suns, something that makes a difference for him. It's a wonderful idea, Teeny. I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Nothing. Miss Tina Lestrade, the prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yeah, goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Otto? Yes? Hey! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. How's the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade? Eh? On occasions such as this, I recommend a simple thank you. Oh! Oh yes! It's good advice, Teeny. Alright, I see. Well... Thanks, Otto. Thank you for everything that you've done, for believing in me. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Oh, there she goes. Where's all of her here again? Well, but the indomitable pickburst. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition. This trial is all over the front page. Pickpockets, innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? If she found Gina, Iris, she would have been thrilled. Oh no! How silly of me! But anyway, we got the good news and the bad news. Not again. Well, what do you say, Reno? Really? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. Oh, there you go. I'll be willing to say that questions says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. And then let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. There's a record level of rainfall apparently. Oh, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in great comfort. Alright, what's the bad news? It's storm looks like the sea is very choppy. The channels in particular is off, which the sailings have Dover been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right, if we head to the station immediately, please make him time to leave Susie off. But, there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Sir Jones? I must have Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. I know a fine restaurant that sells the most delicious baked soda. The great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of rail transport director's foibles. I merely made knowledge of the known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for? Whew, sorry about that. I coughed up some water.
I'm waiting for them. Tell them to Victoria.
I'm legitimately getting sick from this. April 18th, 5:32 a.m. Port of Dover, Quayside. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated.
Just about must be about to leave now.
Mr. Sato, where are you? Over there, look. What's this? She's reading something.
Hold it!
Mr. Sato, wait! What are you doing?
Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here?
Came as soon as we got out of the trial. I mean, I heard that sailings are being delayed due to the bad weather, you see.
Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Jean's trial go?
It went well. She was acquitted.
That's wonderful. Really wonderful news.
Looked like you were about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it?
Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. What would they practicing law in any way now? So I'm saying my final farewell.
You're saying goodbye to law? You, Sato-san? I'd be correct in assuming it's because of the peephole, Mr. Sato.
I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie?
On the evening of the incident, Mr. Swanson had invited Tina to dinner if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Tina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? The other pickpocketing, I mean? Oh, that was so much fun! I so was earned. Yes, please don't do it again, Iris. The band's very important to me. Well, it's so important you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice what easy is. Oh man, I thought it would be fun to see if I could just take the hat off of that, so I put it up my sleeve. Really? And then I rather forgot about it until I found myself in Mr. Winterbank's shop with it later that night. I see. And then... Schultz! Me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, that door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes, if Gino's anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. At that moment, the little device I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Tina, I simply had to know. So I used the cat automatic to make the peephole in the door. I was captured in a photographic print of the shop. By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed, it was of the first importance at that point. Precisely when the people was made, that information appeared to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. When I looked through the hole in the door, I saw that my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier. Trial madness with Gilded. I thought about how he'd manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminals went to do the same thing now? Because when they appeared at the crime scene, it was exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Winterbank. And while I was sure she would never have done such a thing.
You're worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime?
That's right, but then I realized it'd be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case.
What do you mean?
Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of the locked room. If someone claimed falsely to have witnessed it, there'd have to be a way to see beyond the door.
Ah. Oh, it's a peephole would be the very thing.
Only the people I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference.
But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it?
So is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? I never mentioned that you made the people to anyone, not even to the police. I know. And I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong, a criminal offense even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Solms. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the people could save him. That was my plan.
She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If you'd done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Ah. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to have knowingly tampered with a crime scene. So Mr. Zato decided to share the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake and Miss Lestrade's. Mr. Zato.
truth is, when it happened, I did it because I'd lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, it's 5:30 in the morning, can I speed it up? It's the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Mrs. Otto, what you did saved Gina's life. All with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo. You've saved me too from my own regrets. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of loose ends that Charles could continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation of the music bots discontained secret message? That the music bots discontained secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo? What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration. Actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't? I was a communications officer, one of the jury members, she telegraph operator. She said the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood, so they have been intercepted. In cipher, I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. Sogi? What? Suki. Oh, that can't be a real word. Damn it, how funny. Kazuma. That's Kazuma's last name. Wait, Iris, what did you say? Oh, I just said Asogi. Does that mean something to you? Means something. Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? But how? How do you know that name, Iris? I went down to the trial before, when the message was playing on the music bots. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably would be not included in the short, so I tried various ways to interpret it. Whenever I tried, the words didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh! It suddenly occurred to me, you see. There's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have all accepted and added Morse code to use in their own languages. I don't believe it. What are you saying? That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code links before, but I think it's based on the Iroha program, isn't it? I'm to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says Asogi? Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? Mr. Sato, do you know? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications. Then I might recommend, my dear man, you focus your efforts on the English version. You guys, wait, Iris, show me the message, please. Of course. What can this possibly mean? I was in all secret, and some supposedly meaningless dots and dashes. It's made the color dream of Suzato's on his face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names? The first, Keisogi Sumasogi. What is this name? The second is A Shin. Shin? I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Gregusan. Gregson? I haven't seen Tobias Gregson as the third one on the list. It's his name in the secret government communication as well. And the last name. What's the matter, Mr. Zato? It's just so strange, so unexpected. And why does it Susan not keep us in suspense? Never heard, alright. The last name is J. Wilson. What? Wilson. John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? It also says J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. After the four names, it means if I translate from Japanese, that is all four. That seems the message, or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. This is... I just can't believe it. Who would have ever thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Especially the strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. What I've had with this particular message is a communication of some kind from Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. So Daddy could be in Japan then. I used to see where I came from. Oh, well, about that. It's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people discerning Wilson. There must be lots of teens among them. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at Imperial University. We can't tell Iris about that now, we just can't. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Winterbait's murder today, I feel like I've rolled like a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I wanna go to bed. I do wonder. Perhaps it's a dark cave we shouldn't go wandering inside. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yeah, it would seem so. I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Don't change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. Really going then, Susie? We wish you safe passage, Miss Susato. Thank you so much. I wish you all the very best. Susato, I had hoped you'd have you always at my side to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. I'm quite sure I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I get to fulfill. A promise? But your manuscript. Oh yeah, Hound of the Baskervilles. I'll be waiting for that. Susie, promise is promise, definitely, Iris. Get on the ship and leave, please. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Do you remember the first time we met? Yeah, of course. And this is when I was dried out from that wardrobe so I was asleep. No, actually, you have a bad memory. It was, in the trial. In Japan. I remember, at least then we have her across the room, but began like this. You know very well I'm talking about after that. It's strange, being thrown together as we're in that case, somehow feels straight away. You're the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy. This is awful. My instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
I'm sorry that I'm speeding this up. It's 5:35 a.m. and I've been going for 7 hours and 35 minutes.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around. After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
This lasted so much longer than I thought it was going to.
Oh my gosh, it's still going.
Ah, yes, Mr. Norwood. Yes, Mr. Sholmes. Ask about the awkward news. The relay company has decided to do over the Special Express train, apparently. Huh? Customers commercial and money on the other trains have to leave at the stations. Well, really, we wouldn't have made it over in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? The form will complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow, but not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Mr. Sato, you have to defend yourself in court. It's alright, I'm perfectly happy to testify. You really are the sort of man who do something so outrageous. See? Mr. Sholmes? Yes? A word if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you'd like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow. Ah, yes, I love hearing those words. And there's just the one I'll use here. Then I really must say...
Objection!
Okay, credits are playing. I'm gonna mute. And, not great. In the following ways, hundreds of... Never mind. So there's a further... Self-say advertising self-expenditure. Criminals, it's a very important case. Whatever. Participants. I haven't set a link. I'm going to send it to tomorrow now. I was busy early using this for breakfast. Cuts as an overstatement for dry toast and coffee. Shannon to Mrs. Susie. This is up to. This is just one of the contradictions. What? For the arguments. Question answer to the storm of Shanghai, hit like blow. He apprehended Saseki. Oh, he brought a bunch of kittens on board? Jeez. Investigation with the gold standard, general government, discipline with strong heart, the clock has just part smashed together perfectly. I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to let the. I kind of don't want to let the credits play out because it's been so long already. Basis. That's Daredevil. He doesn't see Joey and Daily. He's back on the beat on his leader. He probably enjoys more than the small things. Better Bobby, looking at the Wanderers. Gina, this is just gonna be time for a bit now. Since every day for bananas, but ain't too boring. As you know, in cases Sholmes is looking into. Investigations are sort of kind of interesting when you get into them. Obviously, I'm very, very tired. Regrets. And the other two are there with him, Nash and Ringo. Encounters. Couldn't realize that's what life is about. Naruto, I promise. It's just it will return one day. But for now, you have many memories on heart, but wish that life will treat you well. Please be it. Okay. Other credits, I guess. I'm gonna mute and I'm gonna end both recording and stream once these credits end. So good night, and I will see you all in the next one. I'm gonna say no stream tomorrow. I'm gonna be way too tired. I already know. Good night. I'll see you all not tomorrow, but the next day for stream, and for YouTube, this doesn't matter. I was about to click and see if there was anything that needed to be done. Alright, good night.